What's going on, folks? Your boy again, Dr. Sean Thomas here, back in the building with the Be More Today show. We are still in the month of March. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. It is my pleasure to be your host again for episode 116. Oh my goodness, of the Be More Today show. We're back in the building, and we've been doing so many great things in this month, my birthday month, March, baby, stand up. You already know it is great to see all you guys here today. And as we continue the Be More Today movement, it's a movement, right? We're everywhere. Be More Today is on Amazon with my book. The podcast is everywhere now, heard in 73 countries, over 41,000 downloads. All thanks to your love and support. It does not go unnoticed. I appreciate each and every last one of you to death. The quote for today is simple as always. If you ever give 90% in training, then you will only ever give 90% when it matters. Oh my goodness, 90% when it matters. Listen, as I've been training for the Berlin Marathon, which is coming up in September, I recognize that training, the way you train is how you live your life. The way you train is how you run your races. It's very, very succinct like that. If you train well, you will run well. If you don't train well, you will not run well. And that can be applied to life. It can be applied to your practices in terms of your professions. To be applied to your family life and whatever else. Those things are very, very pivotal for how we do. If you only give 90% in training, then you will only give that 90% when it matters. So I want to encourage everyone to give 100% in whatever they're doing, to be on the field, on the court, wherever you're doing in life, whether it's in the office or somewhere else for school. Make sure you're putting that 100% of work in every single day. That's what Be More Today is really about, putting in that work to be better. And as we've been highlighting the people who do great things for our athletes all across the world, as this is Athletic Training Month, this is our second installment of our guests for this month. I got to let you know, it's been really fun learning more about the AT world. And I have two guests on the show today who are going to give us some insight, some behind the scenes looks into managing athletic programs and the training programs that our young people and older people and professional athletes and everyone is able to benefit from in this world. And my two guests on the show today are two of JAG-ONE PT's finest. Our first guest is Stephanie LoSchiavo, and she is a AT who graduated from East Stroudsburg University in 2015 with a Bachelor of Science Degree in Athletic Training and Rehabilitation Science. In 2018, she completed her Master's of Science degree in Athletic Training at East Stroudsburg University as well. And she immediately followed the completion of the graduate program, working at JAG-ONE Physical Therapy as a clinical athletic trainer. She's having filled several roles within the company. She's currently a regional manager for athletic training and integration, helping oversee the athletic training program in Northeast New Jersey and New York regions, as well as working with the marketing team on the integration of new and acquired clinics, showcasing demonstrated success with operations and strategic plan implementation. She has specialty training and focus on the realm of finance, project and business management, and collaborative service integration. My goodness. She is currently pursuing her M.B.A. at Caldwell University to further her education in the business world and hopes for the continued growth of JAG-ONE. Our second guest on the show today is Tim Mancuso, and Tim is the ATC as well. He's the regional manager of athletic training at JAG-ONE Physical Therapy, as well as the head athletic trainer at Somerset County Votech High School in New Jersey, showcasing demonstrated outcomes with quality process improvement initiatives in both established and startup AT sites across the spectrum of settings. Tim brings 11 years of clinical experience with a manual therapy specialization and professional growth focus in the realm of leadership and business schools. Throughout his career, he has been able to provide athletic training services to multiple settings, from middle school sports to professional sports. And during his career as a certified athletic trainer and NASM performance enhancement specialist, he has been able to use his knowledge to put together preventative programs, provide comprehensive treatments, and provide rehab programs to help his athletes return to their sport and compete at a high level. In addition to being a graduate of Duquesne University athletic training program, Tim also received his master's degree from Touro University worldwide in health education. And Tim believes it's important to keep learning and developing new skills to provide the highest quality of care to his athletes through participating in new and advanced continuing education courses. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, pets included, please welcome to the stage my two best friends, Tim and Stephanie. Folks, what is going on?
Thank you
you for
for the
letting us come
warm.
on.
Thank you for the warm welcome, Sean. We're so happy to be here today and talk all things AT during the month of March.
No problem. I appreciate you
Yeah.
guys. And Tim, what do you want to say about that?
This is a great month to just bring awareness to our profession, and it's always exciting to kind of come up with new ideas to put us out in the forefront. That there's always things that happen throughout the year that kind of bring spotlights to athletic trainers, but this is the month where we really try to focus to just bring that spotlight to us.
I appreciate you guys both. It's my birthday month and it's 18 months,
Yeah.
so it's the best of both worlds in my mind. And I had our guest Ryan Stevens on the show last week. He brought some phenomenal information about what AT world is like. And I wanted to bring you both on today because when we talk about managing behind the scenes of the AT program, I think a lot of us don't really know what happens behind the scenes. We see what happens on the field and on the courts and those things, but behind the scenes are things that happen that we can all benefit from to know how this thing really works for the greater scope of healthcare and for our athletes and professions. So I want to talk to you guys first about the collaborative services and integration. We talk a lot about integration and collaboration and what these things mean, but what does it really mean when it comes to the AT programs for our clients, for our company, and just for the profession of athletic training?
Yeah, so I'll take that one. So, here with JAG-ONE Physical Therapy and JAG-ONE Athletic Training Services, our service integration collaboration involves a lot of people and a lot of parties. So to start, like AT leadership, but me, Tim, Ryan Stevens, who spoke with last time, and also Taylor Rosillo, the VP of Integration and Development, are one piece of it. The other piece is our full-time, our part-time, and per diem athletic trainers, which currently stands at about 110 employees, which is crazy to think, as well as our exclusive and non-exclusive partners, or our clients, as we refer to, which stands at about 250 as of today. So this is a large group to collaborate with, but everyone, working together is super important for the company and business as a whole. But even with that size of the program and what it's grown to, we're still ensuring that we're, providing the best possible care and services to our clients each and every day. And to do that, as managers, Tim and I, in the last 6 months working together, we've really streamlined our processes and our procedures. And we've created a number of resources for both our employees and for our clients. Specifically for employees, we provided a step-by-step onboarding instruction process for each of the 3 states that we operate in, which is New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. This way, employees have a clear understanding of the expectations of being a part of this team. Um, we've also included, we've provided them resources with guidance manuals that include like clinical care, emergency, non-emergency protocols that they can all follow. They have access to contact lists for our partnership sites and local schools and organizations in the area. They are provided with quick reference guides, which include site maps, emergency action plans, daily procedures, and more for our partnership sites. They need the access to all of these resources on a daily basis. And by having our athletic trainers have quick access to all of that really helps ensure, a continuity of care for the large community that we serve. So because of the way we integrate our employees into the program, we can ensure that all of our clients will receive the same top-notch care from the athletic trainers that we have at their sites. As a leading provider of athletic training services in the tri-state area, we take pride in our collaboration with our employees and clients to hope to continue, to grow, in the future there. So that's really, by providing our employees with all of those resources, we can really provide the best care to our clients, which helps build the program as a whole, which helps the company.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. I'm
Yeah.
always baffled at how big our company is now. And most companies are big as well, but ours in particular has grown so much in the last
Hmm.
couple of years that it's sometimes hard to keep up when it comes to everyone being on the same page for education, for wellness, for even
Yeah.
the improvement of our services. Sometimes it
Yeah.
can be hard to disseminate information to everyone so that
Hmm.
the quality of care continues as we get bigger. But JAG-ONE's done a great job of doing that. I think that, but like you said, the boundaries that you put out there for the education for everyone has been that one thing that has made our quality of care soar as we continue to grow. So I like the collaboration. I think that most companies should be doing the same kind of thing. And I can honestly say, I don't see as many people doing what we're doing collectively for our didactics, like we're doing here at JAG-ONE. It's one of the things that really makes me proud of the things that we're doing here for our company. And, Tim, I'm curious for you, as you've been doing a lot of things with us as well. Anything else you want to share to what she just mentioned about the?
Well, because I just came on with JAG-ONE about 6 months ago, working with Ryan Stevens, the big factor that when we came into JAG-ONE Physical Therapy, we wanted to adapt that and adopt that family mentality that JAG-ONE talks about all the time. So to create a family with not only full-time and per diems, we have to include each other versus just sometimes with per diems, they're kind of on an island. They just pick up shifts and they go take care of whatever they take care of. But with us, we want them to be included in our celebration chats, highlighting different athletic trainers, not only our full-times, but our per diems, welcoming them to all of our educations. If they're a part of our active teams, we do in-house educations where we highlight one of our athletic trainers that are part of our team that they'll be teaching on something. So it is that a collaboration. We want them to feel part of the team. We don't want them to just go through the motions. We want us to be all inclusive so that if somebody has like an issue to bring up, there's another chat that we bring into where, hey, has anybody come across this? What's your opinion on it? What have you seen? What haven't you seen? So it allows us all to come together and allows us all to talk about things and allows us all to get closer together.
I love it. As my new role as Director of Community Engagement and Inclusion for this company, I really appreciate all of the community that are built around the different didactics, whether it's ATs or PTs or OTs. There's a certain special unit that comes with every single didactic. And being able, like you said, to showcase those things, whether it's birthdays or protocols, that community aspect makes everyone work a little better. And I've always been able to see when people come together, whether they're bonding, whether it's work related or other, after that happens, they're just better what they want to do at treating their patients or their clients, just being happier at work. So you both are doing a great job of doing those things. And, I'm curious, Steph, as we talk more about the fiscal part of this, you mentioned per diems and Tim, you mentioned per diems, for us as clinicians, it's always interesting to see the new grads and the more seasoned grads and how invested they are in terms of how the actual thing works. We talk about the finances and the fiscal part of it and how programs are paid for and how, salaries are distributed and those things. How important do you think, I know you're talking about going to business school and finishing that for your career. How important is it for us as clinicians, and especially ATs, to know about the fiscal component of the business or the business part of this thing when it comes to finances? And I'm curious why you're even pursuing your M.B.A. right now and how that's going to further enhance your job as an AT.
Yeah. So, as you mentioned in my bio, I am a certified athletic trainer by trade, but I quickly grew into a role in the administrative side of things with Taylor Rosillo. And from there, you see little bits of how each department works in this company and how we all come together as one. So that's why I said, let's go back, get a little bit of a business insight into how this company works. So that's why I'm back there now. And I am learning a lot, and it's really helped tying things together. So, as an athletic trainer, we're educated on how to recognize and evaluate injuries and provide emergency care and develop rehab programs and follow them out. But it is important for athletic trainers to understand the business side of things, to include, like you said, the fiscal, the operational side. It's all very important. We need to advocate for our profession, and profession is growing each and every day. So I want them to understand, there's a top-notch dollar for what we're charging and what we want to pay you guys. And it's important for them to know where all that falls. But I think on the business side of things, it's really important for athletic trainers to understand relationships and how important they are. So as much as the operational and fiscal side of things is important into running the business, I think athletic trainers need to understand how much how important relationships are. You know, as a treating athletic trainer, you need a supervising physician in New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania that can provide you with your plan of care or written protocol. So that really sets the tone of your scope of practice as an athletic trainer. We work under, you know, the physician's standing orders. So just as you're building that relationship with a physician in your own school or the setting that you work at, you know, that again helps the continuity of care between the athlete, between you and the physician. But those relationships really carry over into the business side. You know, as a program here, we would be nothing without our relationships. You know, they might not realize that that is a business part of it too. You know, working for an athletic training program, the way we grow and the way we expand our reach to the communities and different settings is all through relationship building. So honestly, as minor as it might seem, even through the schooling and the, you know, business program I'm in and working alongside these great professionals in this company, I realize that's one of the biggest pieces of business right now. Because then with those relationships, they learn to trust you, and they, you know, they learn to, oh, you know, some people are hesitant about paying a certain dollar amount now. Like I said, we need to advocate for this profession, but if they trust us and we build that relationship and they know what we have to offer is the best that there is, there's no more questions. So athletic trainers do need to understand that we are doing that for them, you know, each day. But I think that's a really important piece that you don't always tie into business, but super important on each side.
Yeah. So just a quick question. Why do you think there is this need for healthcare professionals in multiple didactics to have to prove that we're worth the money that we're asking people to pay us for? What is this? Like, where's this come from? Because I've spoken to a number of people, and not clinicians, but patients who they may or may not know what PTs do, OTs do, ATs do, etc., chiropractors, the bigger picture, right? And they'll always ask if they can just do it on their own. Go on YouTube, go on wherever else and try to figure out. Clearly they can't because they're not getting better. So they have to come to us, right? Whether on the field or what have you. But there's still a sense of not really thinking that what we're doing is worth the financial compensation that it takes to get that thing done. Where's that come from?
I know, like, it's just like the business question too. I mean, most people see the tip of the iceberg. You know, they just see you need an athletic trainer for your ankle taping. That might be the only time someone sees you as an athletic trainer. They go in for 5 minutes, get their ankle taped. They're never heard again. Personally, that was me. I didn't really know what went on within the athletic training room or anything behind the scenes for that matter. So I just, you know, people are learning more and more about our profession specifically, and they are learning, like Tim mentioned earlier, we are in the spotlight, you know, here and there, you know, as professionals. And as that happens, people realize what we do more and more. So I think it's because they're only seeing the tip of the iceberg, whether that be us running out on the field to do a quick evaluation or us taping their child's ankle or something like that, that they're not realizing how much more we're trained in, just as, you know, physical therapists and occupational therapists. Not everyone needs to use our services, so they only see the tip of the iceberg. And hopefully we're getting under the surface a little more, so they really know what we're capable of doing and why we are worth, like you said, the price.
Yeah, that's a hard question to really fully answer, because you always have to, I feel like you always have to advocate for yourself regardless if there's awareness or not, because you always want to just profess your profession. But as athletic trainers, you have to think of, we are there at all aspects of healthcare. We are there for the acute stage. We're there for chronic stage. We're there for the emergency medicine. We're there for the rehab. We're there for afterward for relationships. So in a lot of the sense, athletic trainers are the bridge to all other aspects of healthcare. And as Stephanie talked about, relationship with parents, relationships with the helping parents get into the different healthcares of PT or the ortho, cultivating those relationships. So we are part of all different aspects of healthcare, but people don't see that because we're doing it all behind the scenes. So that's a big aspect there of why we want to advocate for it, because you don't realize how many different factors athletic trainers are involved in.
Yeah, that's a good point. You know, we had a Super Bowl that happened last month, and a number of people who either watch regularly or don't watch at all always watch these big things, right? Super Bowl, NBA finals, whatever, hockey, whatever else. And people who may not be the biggest sports enthusiasts, when they see people get hurt, they'll see people just walk out on the field, right? A number of people go on the field, and it's like a whole team that goes out. And if you don't know, like we kind of know who's going out there, but if you don't know, you see 1,000 people go on the field to take care of somebody. So I'm curious if you guys can explain, because you both work in various departments when it comes to the AT world. When everyone goes out there to go see someone, whether it's an athlete who's hurt or something like that, how does it get decided who is doing what, right? Because there are a number of people on the field with all kind of specialties, and there has to be some kind of a hierarchy, not a hierarchy, but some kind of an order for how things are going to be carried out to take care of this one patient at this one time. So I'm just curious if someone can explain to us and to the audience how that works, because to the viewer, maybe looking on TV or whatever else, they may see everyone being the same. And they might not really know, well, who's the AT and who's the MD and who's the PT? And, to them, it's just a bunch of people wearing the same kind of shirt going out there and helping somebody. But maybe, at a high school event, it might be a little different than at a professional, like NFL event. So can you guys shed some light just for the listeners to know, where the AT stand in those situations to have a better idea of what we really do?
Yeah, and that all goes into discussion before the event even happens. It isn't a decision that's made at the day of the event. Okay, you have to talk about it beforehand. That's why you have emergency action plans and protocols for whenever an injury does happen. In my experience, most of the time, when you have a team physician on sideline, let's talk about a football game. Most of the times, the athletic trainer will run out. If the team physician is needed, the athletic trainer will call them over. That's along the same lines with if there's EMT on standby. The athletic trainer is normally the first person on the field, evaluating the injury, determining what the next step would be. And then there is either a handoff to the next healthcare professional, or if it's a serious thing and the athletic trainer needs to dictate what's going on within that, they're in charge until it is officially handed off and put into potentially the rig for the EMTs, so on and so forth there. But it doesn't happen at the spur of the moment. You have to discuss it. You have to practice. That's why even with the coaches part in all of it, you practice your emergency action plan. So if something happens, this is your role. This is my role. If this situation happens, you're going to go do this. You're going to go do this, so that we make sure it's more of a systematic approach instead of a reactive approach.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think it's hard for the commoner, right, who's just watching, and you see a bunch of people go onto either a field or whatever else to differentiate who's doing what. But like in any other field, right, there has to be a community where people know what their role is to get these things done, whether it's AT or anything else. Even talking about like Whole Foods, right? People at Whole Foods, there's a certain level of order that's happening at Whole Foods. You know your role. You're at the cashier. You're in the back. You're going to stock this thing. So I'm glad it's the same premise. And I think that teamwork is necessary, especially in situations where it can be life or death, like the NFL player who almost lost his life, right? That's a life or death situation. So knowing who has to do what role in those things is imperative. It's imperative. Anything you want to share about that, Steph, or no?
Yeah, I mean, exactly what Tim said. Everything is pre-planned. We're big planners in this profession. Funny to say, because we usually work in situations that are not planned. We're trained to work in an emergency situation. You don't know what the outcome's going to be. But with all of the training we have in, creating and implementing emergency action plans, or EAPs, you might see them as, we're ready for any situation. And if we're not there, like Tim said, the school or this organization, they're ready for a situation without us on site. Like, what do you do when the athletic trainer is not there? So, everything is pre-planned for the most part. And, we're here to help others plan as well. So even when we're not on site, or BMT's not on site, we want everyone to feel as prepared as they can be for a situation.
Yeah. So how does that work in situations where, maybe the MD is not there or the EMT is not there or whoever else? How does that work in terms of what ATs can and cannot do? And does that vary by state, as in New York versus New Jersey or Pennsylvania, or is it the same as a national wide?
No, it does vary per state, because each state has their own practice act, and based off of the practice that kind of allows that healthcare professional to treat or work in those parameters. I will say in terms of New Jersey, I believe that our practice act has been changed multiple times, and they're really always trying to massage it so that we can do more. That is still under our full scope of practice in all of our KD education programs. In terms of New York, it does seem like they're trying to change the Practice Act, but there's been some holdups, and that's part of that may be one reason why New York hasn't exploded as much in the athletic training profession. I also think that New York, some of the schools in New York don't require athletic trainers as much, so they don't know fully what athletic trainers are and the importance of them being around. I do believe that it is becoming a little more in the forefront because, like you talked about, in the highest stage of sports in the NFL, they saw a serious injury and they highlighted the athletic trainer that put the emergency action plan into effect. And he even got an MVP vote. That's pretty awesome. But so that kind of differs in terms of the states. But if you don't have your team physician there, if you don't have EMTs there, the athletic trainer is that lead healthcare professionals. But that's why you have the support staff of your athletic directors, your support staff of your coaches. So you already go through, if we don't have these parameters, I'm going to be where the most serious issue is going on, and here's your roles based off of what's going on. So it is, once again, a pre-planned event for an unplanned event, which is an oxymoron a little bit, but that's what we're doing. But you just utilize what's there for you. But in the terms of sports, athletic trainers can do everything because you are trained in the emergency medicine. You are trained in the evaluation, the determination of whether they can continue to play or whether they cannot continue to play. Different protocols are in the forefront of concussion. It was funny. I'll circle back around with the NFL injury. My friends were texting me, "What just happened? Do you know what's going on?" And because of my education from Duquesne University and how much my teacher talked about commotio cordis, I kind of guessed that was what happened. It is severely rare in terms of NFL, but it's more seen in baseball and projectile sports. Right. But I kind of viewed it as that. So the education that we have is so encompassing that it's pretty nice that people just reach out and ask questions because of your education.
Yeah, and I was going to build on that too. I know you asked like what we can do with and without other professionals on site, but like I mentioned earlier, we just work under the supervising physician's standing orders. So they don't need to be on site when we're treating. So as Tim said, we can, do a variety of things, even when our supervising physician isn't in the vicinity, but they sign those orders for us. So we're able to do that in the state we practice in.
I love that. I love the growth. Yeah. I had a patient even come to me yesterday and say, "You guys don't have a doctor on site." I'm like, "No, we don't need a doctor on site. That's why you have doctors of physical therapy. We're here because we can treat without having to have that person on site." So I love the fact that professions are growing beyond the typical MD realm. And I think a lot of our patients and people in general still have this very insular idea of what healthcare is, that it all starts with the MD and that's really it. No, there are so many other didactics that make up the bigger picture of healthcare. And yes, we are all trained to do our individual things well. And there's no need for us to have an MD on site for most of these things because we are, like you said, Tim, educated in those realms. I'm curious now, I as someone who is from New York and didn't really have an athletic trainer at most of my athletic things until I got to probably high school. Maybe that was a New York thing. I'm looking back on it now. Why is that in terms of the importance of athletic training not being so enforced or I guess supported either by the state, by the city, whatever, in New York compared to New Jersey and other places? Why is that a thing?
Yeah, so I would say athletic trainers are absolutely supported in New York. I mean, every state has their own professional organization. In New York, it's the New York State Athletic Trainers Association, or NYSATA for short. They're very much supported, but New York is actually one of a very few states that only requires a certificate versus a licensure. So in the majority of our states, the most regulated form of athletic training is with a licensure. So Pennsylvania and New Jersey do require a licensure, but New York, it still only requires a certificate. So what that means is that, I mean, individuals can technically perform similar duties of an athletic trainer, but they cannot use the title of athletic trainer. But because of that, I think, some people kind of slip other people in to perform similar duties when, athletic trainers aren't required on site. You still have to, athletic trainers in New York still need to complete a bachelor's or master's degree in athletic training and pass the National Board of Certification. But unfortunately, I think because New York is a little less regulated, right below that licensure line, athletic trainers aren't required as much or employed as frequently throughout schools and organizations. We have seen a great increase in that, especially in recent years. But I think that's why, like you said, even when you were growing up, they weren't as prevalent. You didn't see them on as many sidelines or at your schools. And I think that could be one of those reasons why. So, they are not as progressive as New Jersey or Pennsylvania right now, but I know they're working towards that.
Interesting. I did not know that. Do you think that has any negative effect on the high school / college, even middle school athletic programs for the people young and old who are doing athletics and maybe getting injured on the side, but might not be having the access to the protocols and knowledge base that you guys have shared? Is that something that can be detrimental, you think, in New York compared to other places?
Detrimental, I probably wouldn't go that far, but the impact of the athletic trainer can be in multifacets even before an injury happens. Because I'll give you an example for this year, being at Somerset County Vo-Tech. Last year, we had a lot of soft tissue injuries that I really wanted to kind of dive into and kind of try to attack it before they happened again this year. So what did I do? I redeveloped their dynamic warm-ups for each team. And this year we've progressed where we don't have those ticky-tack musculoskeletal and soft tissue injuries because they're warming up, because they have the proper range of motion, because they're doing the proper stretching programs. So in that realm, yes, if the athletic trainer is not there evaluating something, it could be solving an issue that didn't need to happen. So that in that respect, I think that is more forefront there because you can have your EMTs on site for the emergency medicine and just in case. But in the all encompassing effect, yes, the athletic trainer plays so many different roles within the sports atmosphere that, yes, I think that it does hurt the program if they're not there helping develop it further.
You're talking more about like prevention then?
Yeah, because we, like I said, we're in all aspects of the sport and healthcare. That if we have the ability to prevent an injury by changing something up, the athletic trainer has done the training to do that, and that's why we do our continuing education. That's why our senior director Ryan Stevens is going to be talking about dynamic warm up at Sleepy Hollow High School just in a few weeks.
Gotcha. So yeah, so I guess I'm going back to me and my high school moments right now, right? When I was in high school, right, and actually I didn't go to high school in New York, I went to high school in Connecticut, so this is kind of off skelter. But just looking at my brothers who went to high school in New York, a lot of the teaching that they got were from their coaches, right? Their coaches were the ones who showed them everything. They showed them drills. They didn't really have a weight coach, or the coach showed them how to do stuff in the weight room. The coach did everything for them, and it's funny looking back at how much those coaches did because it wasn't really a team. There was probably like one or two people looking over all the various athletes on whatever team, football, basketball, baseball, etc. That one coach was the teacher for all those different things. So, I'm looking at the progression from that, which was probably in the 90s, early 90s to now, where I look at schools and there's a real team of people, right? We're from coaches to ATs to other people who are now giving knowledge. And like you said, Ryan also showing someone how to do dynamic warm-up. No one ever came to our school and showed us how to do that besides our coach. So it seems to me that this is definitely growing and that the athletic training world is expanding beyond the typical walls of what the world thinks AT should be doing. But now you're going into schools, hospitals, settings, and showing people how to do things on the prevention aspect and also when things do happen. So I'm happy to see that. That makes me very, very excited for my daughter, who will hopefully be able to benefit from these sessions as well with you guys one day. She's 8, but she has time to grow into that thing. So makes me happy.
Hopefully just prevention. Yeah, hopefully prevention,
yes,
and
prevention.
strength for
Prevention.
sure.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
We do have athletic trainers in middle school, so she's right around the corner.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Listen, I had a question because we talked about relationships earlier in the conversation, and relationships I think are integral for all aspects of healthcare, right? Who you know can definitely either steer you forward or can actually sometimes even hold you back from growth. But I think when it comes to relationship, there's also a sense of leadership that comes with that. And I don't think, in my own opinion, that everyone has a mindset of relationship, because there's also not a mindset of being a leader. I think it takes a little bit of time and effort to cultivate relationships. And sometimes that goes beyond the regular 9 to 5, right? It sometimes is a little more you have to put into relationships, either with your athletes or with the parents or the MD, to the community, the school, whoever else. That sometimes goes beyond the regular requirements, some would say, of what anyone should do, whether it's AT or PT or OT, whoever else. So I'm curious for both of you, as you both are now leaders in the AT program, and you're teaching others, both young and old, new and seasoned, how to make sure that we cultivate relationships. When it comes to leadership, and Ryan and I talked about this a little bit last week, but I wanted to expound on it with you two. Every clinician, and I think every AT, has that same drive to go out there and be great and do those things and share that knowledge with others. But not everyone has that same knack to say, you know what, I want to go above and beyond my regular time to do that, to be a leader. How do you foster that spirit of relationship and leadership, especially because there are so many offices, there are so many ATs, we're so sometimes insular and so far from each other across the various states, right? How do you foster that relationship and leadership spirit to all the clinicians so that we can continue to make everyone get back to the life that they really truly do love?
Yeah, I appreciate you bringing that up. And just a point to make too, like, yeah, being a manager is not the same as being a leader in everyone's mind. And we make a point to call ourselves the AT leadership team. We're not the managerial team. You know, we are managers by trade right now, but we're the leadership team. And personally, to answer that question, I've only stepped into a leader role recently into the last 6 months. So I have my own personal and professional goals this year to, you know, take more courses in communication or leadership, more public speaking, things of that nature. And again, to cultivate the relationship with my employees and my clients and my colleagues. The way that we have learned to cultivate more relationships here, which I'm sure Tim will speak on more of too, kind of adopted from Tim and Ryan, is to create small groups. So we have about 20 full-time athletic trainers out at different sites. These sites are all the way out in Pennsylvania, through New Jersey, all the way up to New York. As you said, a large company, we don't always see each other. How do we have this large company, you know, keep a really strong relationship? So as a leader, we lead small groups. And each small group has their own goals throughout the year. They focus on different things. I mean, some are out in the communities with health initiatives. Some are working on concussion protocols. Some are fun, like our Fanny Pack Fun Squad. They work on initiatives to get together as a team, to enjoy life a little bit outside of work. So as a leadership team ourselves, we started to incorporate these small groups because me and Tim, we're learning more to be leaders and leading those small groups. We each have multiple groups that we oversee, but it's also building the relationship between us and our team, the team and the rest of the team, and then our team with the community and the company. So I found that really, honestly, special and helpful. To have our own little groups to focus on throughout the year.
Yeah, and to just build off of that, in terms of the small groups, in that realm, you get to see who wants to take initiative on some of those projects within that group. So that allows you to kind of get the sense of who wants to kind of be more of a leader there and potentially grow within potentially a new position within the company. But it also, me personally, I'm a big reader in self-development and people skills, but like everybody has their personality profile. Okay. So if you're able to create a relationship with them, learn their personality profile, you're able to kind of speak more into their language, which then allows you to get more out of them. So that's why you want to build that relationship there, so that you can learn about them, so that you can create that environment for them wanting to do more. Don't get me wrong, it doesn't happen all the time, but there's little niches where people are almost an expert at, and we see that within our team. So we utilize them and highlight them within those areas, so that we say, if you have a question about this, you need to go to this athletic trainer. It's not always us as the leadership team, it's a part of our whole team. It's like, I know, and I'll highlight one of our athletic trainers because I do it all the time every year. It's whenever there's anything wrestling related, you need to go talk to Sean Doyle. He is the wrestling guru. He loves wrestling so much. So I tell everybody, if you have a question, go ask Sean. That's where we highlight there. But also every year we do our own in-house education workshop, which this allows all of our team members to come up with a topic, to present on a topic, which kind of gets them out of their comfort zone if they don't really speak in different events. So it allows them to be in a safe environment to grow within that as well. So that is why we're cultivating leaders in different ways. And our newest initiative that's going to be coming out within the Athletic Training Month is our mentorship program, where it's going to be for new and ongoing ATs within our team, because we want to hear about difficulties as a new AT. How can we help you grow? How can we help you create your own self-image there? So we want to create that atmosphere that everybody can grow and pursue every aspect they want to pursue.
I love that. I love the growth. I love the community. I love the small groups. Those are the things I think that build community. I think a lot of people have a hard time building community, especially coming out of COVID-19 and whatever else you have to go through. It's just hard bringing people back to say, you know what, let's grow, let's build, let's connect. So it sounds like you guys are doing the right thing and doing it successfully. So I'm happy to hear that. And I'm curious, now that you're doing all these things for in-house and you guys are connected with your staff, and I love the leadership, that everyone is a leader. I think that's a big component I took away just now, that it's not managerial. We're all leaders. So that's big. But I'm curious what the future looks like for us, JAG-ONE, the AT program. We're now moving forward in so many places. What does the future look like for us in the communities that we serve, whether it's New York, Jersey, Pennsylvania, Connecticut? How does that look for us moving forward? What are the big things that will be coming up for us to continue to connect with our communities?
Yeah, so as we talked about, athletic trainers are growing more and more in dynamic and diverse roles now more than ever, especially at JAG-ONE. So with that, us as a program and a team, we're aiming to offer more services to the community, outside of just athletic training coverage. We want to help more with community health initiatives. We want to be the ones to help establish procedures that can be used in emergent and non-emergent situations at partnership sites that do or don't have an athletic trainer on site full time. We also want to keep developing, new partnerships and relationships outside of that non-traditional setting, such as occupational health, industrial, and like the tactical athlete. So that's where I see us going. We are building our team each and every day. And like Tim said, we see the leaders within our team and we see where they want to go. And we want to really, grab that, specialty that they hone in on and use that to our advantage for the company as a team as a whole.
Yeah, and it's all about bringing awareness. It's all about how can we grow our profession. And I know I'll be doing a career day within our community, talking about athletic training this month. We're also reaching out to different athletic training programs to create new relationships so that we can foster and kind of build an even bigger family within athletic training, so that we can help each other and collaborate in different programs as well. We also, in our schools, we have a protocol and have established athletic training clubs in certain schools, so that we're any interest in terms of students in the community, they're getting experience of what the athletic trainer does, helping them. They get the CPR certified, so that they're doing first aid. So certain aspects like that allows us to grow the community, that allows us to kind of get better relationships, because it all comes down to relationships. It always does. It's the network you have, it's the sphere of influence you have, and it's all based off the foundation of the relationships you have.
That's true. That's true. Listen, I'm happy and excited to hear all those different things. And I'm just curious, what advice you would share with anyone who's aspiring. Now they heard this show, they're getting excited about what you do, and they want to join. They want to be an AT. They want to figure out how they can get into that thing. What's the advice you want to share with anyone who's aspiring to be an athletic trainer, or any new ATs in the field that may be looking at this and saying, you know what, I want to be just as good, whether they're with us, JAG-ONE, or they're outside of the JAG-ONE balloon, but they want to be as great as you two have been for your communities. What advice can you share with those listeners right now?
Yeah, I would tell aspiring ATs, or especially the new ATs in the field, to not be afraid to use the resources around them. In the athletic training world, so many times you can enter a job where you're the head athletic trainer and you're the only one there. You know, you're not directly working alongside another healthcare professional on a daily basis. So I want ATs to know that there's always a support system around them, whether that's the administrators at the school that they work at, you know, the leadership team of a healthcare company such as JAG-ONE, or, you know, support from state and national associations around them. You know, you really hit the ground running in a profession like this. You know, you go through your clinicals, and then sometimes you just end up at a school by yourself and you're like, wait, there's no one looking over me anymore. But I want athletic trainers to know that they're never alone, and there's always support around them, even if, you know, they're not directly beside them each day.
Yeah, there's so many different outlets for athletic trainers, depending on what state they're in, to reach out to other athletic trainers, to reach out to within their division, that you can reach out to other schools. But once again, it always comes back down to relationship. But I would say a big thing to tell young aspiring ATs, or even people that are looking to go into the profession, what you said in my bio: don't stop learning. Because if you stop learning, you become stagnant and you actually start going backward. You always want to learn. You always want to see what's new out there. Obviously, you're going to hone certain skills that you see work, that have been tried and true, but there's different areas where you can grow in. So don't limit yourself. Keep growing.
I love it. Last question, folks. As I've had 116 guests on the show in the last 4 years, there's one question I ask every single person on the show, and that is very, very simple. When you hear the phrase "be more today," what does that phrase mean to you? Let's start with Stephanie first.
Yeah. Yeah. So when I hear that phrase, I think of stepping outside of your comfort zone. That's the first thing I think of, you know, in my own personal and professional life. I feel like I don't see growth in myself. Things aren't as exciting until you step out of your comfort zone. So for me, that is absolutely being more today and every day.
That's great.
And be more for me is I kind of attack each day is who can I impact today, or how can I be an impact today? Because that is a huge factor within the athletic training, because you don't know who's walking to your office that has potential, just wants to talk about something. So how can you impact them just by having that conversation? It has nothing to do with an athletic injury. So it's all about being an impact, and then kind of moving from there.
Yeah, big time statements by both of you. Listen, this show has been great. I appreciate both of you making the time for the second installment of our AT Month Appreciation. And thank you, Stephanie and Tim, just for giving us your insights about the programs. I'm looking forward to continuing this series going into next week. So thank you so much for your time, and happy AT month.
Thank you,
Thank
Sean.
you very much.
No problem, folks. And listen, don't forget all the words they talked about. ATs are fun. They do so many things that are, again, beyond the surface level that we had no idea until today, right? Prevention and wellness, looking at the communities, working with the MDs and the EMTs, doing so many things to educate the future athletes and the current athletes of our world. They are doing phenomenal work. So appreciate them. This is their month. Appreciate all the work they do. And if you want to get into that AT realm, you can always contact me directly or just follow us at JAG-ONE PT. We have an amazing AT program, as you already heard. Our quote for today, don't forget it. If you only ever give 90% in training, then you will only ever give 90% when it matters. They both shared about their passion for leadership and giving back to the community. And they're giving 100% every single day to make sure that we, as receivers of their services, can be better on the field. So go out there. Give your 100% this week, whatever it is, to your craft, your sport, your book writing, your book reading, your M.B.A. program, whatever it's going to be. Give 100% to that thing, and you too will be great and will be more today. As always, follow us on all of our social media platforms. Be More Today, and of course, JAG-ONE PT. If you're looking for a PT in any of the boroughs, tri-state area, we are out there. We are number one, folks. You already know. JAG-ONE PT, we're the ones who will get you back to the life that you love. As I always say, I'll see you next week. Continue to take your steps to greatness to be the best version of you. Happy AT month.